know, people are looking forward to the future in America here, and what you've had are thousands and thousands and thousands of Trump supporters who've poured into Washington, D.C. for this day. As you can see, I'm with one of them here. What did you make of Trump's speech today, sir?
It was fantastic. This is what we've been praying for and working for the last 4 years, really the last 8 years. This is the promise to turn around America, make it great again, and the whole world will benefit from this. So,
now you yourself, you just told me you're involved. You've been involved in Project 2025. Can you explain to our viewers what that is and what you hope to achieve with it?
That's right. I was the director of Project 2025, and it was really a plan to help the next conservative president be ready on day one, today, in fact, to really move out and take over, reclaim the administrative state for the people. This is a popular sovereignty movement that's sweeping across the U.S., but really across the world. And it's a plan for us to be able to put in place these common sense solutions and really make the will of the people felt here in Washington.
So basically getting rid of government employees if they don't agree with Donald Trump?
It's not getting rid of them. It's making sure that they understand who the boss is. They work. We have 3 branches of government. He's the president, and he's in charge of the executive branch. So, you know, they can either work with the ideas that the people voted for. The people are ultimately the boss. We are of the people, by the people, for the people. So if a certain bureaucrat is against those plans, yes, that bureaucrat needs to step aside. And that's really what the reform is about.
What would you say to people from Europe who've been looking at the US and who've been concerned about US democracy and the way things have been heading in recent years?
Well, this is the best day for them. This is the restoration of American democracy. This is really putting the people back in charge. We've been under a tyranny, and that's been played out over the last 4 years. People in Europe are suffering from it. They suffered from COVID. They suffered from a lot of this green extreme agenda, and now we're going to return to common sense solutions. So I guess I would say be not afraid. That's a phrase we find in a lot of places, namely the Bible. But, you know, in terms of the second Trump, I'd say look forward to peace and prosperity, and it's going to break out throughout the world.
And January the 6th, 2021, that wasn't something that people need to be concerned about when they see it?
Not at all. I think actually they're going to learn the truth about what actually happened and the role of the government and the opposition parties in really fomenting that. And President Trump was speaking about that a little bit right after his swearing in. But, you know, that narrative has crashed and burned. And I think we're going to be able to get back to equal justice under the law. That's really the key thing. We are a republic going on its 250th birthday, and it's so critical that we establish that truism, that equal justice under law.
Now, we understand that President Trump intends to pull the US again out of the Paris Climate Accords. What do you think about that? Is that true? Is that something?
Well, he will do it. Right now, as it's configured, it's extremely unfair to the United States, but it's also counterproductive. You know, when you have China putting 100 coal-fired energy plants online within a year, how is anything we do with reduction of CO2 emissions going to make a dent? It's really a fallacy, and the common sense of Trump, I think, is going to really help the environment in the long run, and will help the people and the economy in the immediate run.
When Trump said today that he was saved by God in his speech, what do you think of that?
I believe it too. We prayed. I mean, that a quarter of an inch really spared the free world. And I think that, you know, he isn't an outwardly religious man, or hasn't been in public life. And I think that anytime you survive that real near-death experience is profoundly going to change someone. But in him, I do believe the Almighty has played a role. And, you know, this country is really one country under God. So we have a great, and it's not just a Christian God. We are people of faith, but it has, to be sure, a Judeo-Christian bedrock that built this, and our rights derive from God, not government, and that's what President Trump gets.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me today, and I hope you can get inside from the cold.
Mon plaisir, je vous en prie.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay, à plus.
So there you go. These are some of the views that we've been hearing all day from Trump supporters. This is the viewpoint that is now in government in America, and this is what the next 4 years, no doubt, will be about here. And it's just taken beginning in Washington, D.C. today.
Catherine, thank you. Paul Dan.